Okay, let's dive into something pretty unexpected today. You came to us with a whole stack of fascinating material about Yakitori.
Hmm.
But right from the start, these sources threw us a bit of a curveball, pointing to a really surprising difference in one particular place.
They certainly did. I mean, when most people hear yakitori, they instantly think grilled chicken skewers, right?
Exactly.
But based on the articles and notes you shared, in Fukuoka, Japan, that definition, well, it takes a fascinating turn.
It's more than just a turn, isn't it? It's almost like completely different. The material immediately highlighted this initial culture shock people feel, the fact that Fukuoka's yakitori scene prominently features and often leads with
Yeah.
pork belly skewers.
Yeah, but Tabara, it's a real departure, especially considering the word itself, yakitori means grilled chicken.
Right. So our mission today, guided entirely by the sources you've given us, is to unpack why pork belly holds such a central, almost defining role in Fukuoka's yakitori.
And explore the other unique traditions, too.
Yes, exactly. What makes this regional cuisine stand out and, how you can truly experience it, according to this information.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's jump straight into that pork belly puzzle then. The sources are incredibly clear on this. Pork belly, or Buddhabara, as you said, isn't just like an option on the menu in Fukuoka.
No, it's standard, often the most popular item, sometimes even listed as number one.
And the core concept behind this, as presented in the material, is that Fukuoka locals seem to embrace a much broader idea.
Yeah, the idea that basically anything skewered and grilled is yakitori. It's rooted pretty deeply there.
So the term describes the method more than the ingredient.
That seems to be the essence of it, yeah. The term functions more like a cooking style descriptor in that region, not just about the chicken.
Hmm.
The material even touches on a theory about this broader definition, including the pork,
Yeah.
that it might have historical roots, possibly brought back from places like Manchuria by people returning after World War II.
Ah, okay. That historical connection is really interesting.
It adds another layer, doesn't it?
Definitely. And this isn't just a quirk of Fukuoka City itself, right? Apparently, in Kuruma City, also in Fukuoka Prefecture, this idea is taken even further.
That's right. The sources mention that they're all skewered and grilled foods, whether it's meat or even fish. They just call it all yakitori.
Wow, so that shows just how deep this regional definition runs.
And the popularity of pork belly isn't just, hearsay. We learned it's considered almost obligatory.
Obligatory.
Yeah, like hardly anyone visits a yakitori place without ordering it, and people apparently eat an average of about 5 skewers each.
5 skewers of pork belly per person.
Yeah.
That's a serious commitment.
It really is.
So what's the typical preparation for this local staple, according to the sources?
It sounds pretty straightforward, actually. Thickly sliced pork belly pieces, alternated with sections of onion on the skewer.
Okay.
Then they're grilled, and the most popular seasoning, apparently, is just salt.
Simple salt seasoning. Sounds deceptive, but clearly they've perfected it.
Must have.
Okay, so pork belly is the surprising star. But the sources also unveil another unique Fukuoka custom. Something that arrives at your table even before the skewers do. Yeah, yes, the cabbage. The indispensable accompaniment. Raw cabbage.
Exactly. This was highlighted as another defining feature. You're typically presented with this generous plate of raw cabbage, often with a ponzu dressing, right when you sit down.
And it serves more than one purpose, from what we gather.
That's right. On a practical level, people use it as a sort of chopstick rest between skewers.
How clever.
But its more crucial role is as a palate cleanser. The material really stresses how important it is for refreshing your taste buds.
Especially with those richer skewers, I imagine.
Exactly, like the pork belly or the famous chicken skin we'll probably get to. It cuts through the richness.
A perfect counterpoint. Do the sources say where this tradition started?
They actually attribute its beginning to a specific restaurant, Nobuhide Honton, in the Nakasu area.
So it started somewhere specific and then just spread.
Became a region-wide standard, it seems.
And it's a generous standard, too, because the material notes that free refills of the cabbage are common, right?
Yeah, free refills at most places.
Yeah.
Which makes perfect sense given its role throughout the meal, You keep going back to it.
Totally. The sources even shared this great little anecdote about it.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, Fukuoka locals travel outside the prefecture, go to a yakitori place elsewhere in Japan, and they're genuinely shocked when the cabbage doesn't show up.
Really? That's funny.
It really drives home how fundamental it is to their yakitori experience.
It's clearly not just a side dish, then. It's woven into the fabric of the meal itself.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of essential items, beyond the star pork belly, The sources point to another signature skewer you absolutely have to know about in Fukuoka.
Right, Torikawa.
Chicken skin.
Yeah, Torikawa chicken skin. This is described as another non-negotiable item, one that Fukuoka residents order in large quantities, often right alongside their pork belly.
And the preparation for this chicken skin. The sources detail a process that sounds incredibly involved, like really time-consuming.
It's astonishing, actually. They apparently use thick neck skins specifically,
Okay.
marinate it in sauce, and then subject it to repeated grilling, get this, 7 times,
7 times.
over a period of 6 days.
6 days. For chicken skin?
No. It's all about rendering out the excess fat very slowly and building up layers of flavor and texture.
That's an incredible level of craft and dedication for a single skewer. What's the payoff? What's the texture like after all that?
Well, the material describes it as truly unique. Crispy on the outside, but still retaining this delightful chewiness on the inside.
Ah, crispy and chewy.
Exactly. That combination is apparently what makes it so addictive, explaining why people order, 10 or 20 skewers at a time.
Wow. This isn't just grilling chicken skin, it's meticulous. It transforms a simple ingredient.
Through sheer patience and technique, yeah. It's a real insight into the local craft.
And the material credits a specific restaurant, Hakata Kawaya, with really establishing and popularizing this distinct Torikawa culture, right?
Yes, they seem to be the key players known for making this multi-day preparation style famous.
Okay. Moving from skin to something perhaps a bit lighter, the sources introduce another unique characteristic of Fukuoka's scene, these things called vegetable rolls.
Right, yasaimaki. These are pretty much what they sound like, but done in the Fukuoka yakitori style. Meaning it's thinly sliced pork belly, wrapped tightly around various vegetables before being skewered and grilled.
That sounds like a great way to balance things out, actually.
It does, and the sources list a surprisingly wide range of vegetables used.
Yeah, I saw that. Lettuce, leek, lotus root, tomato, okra, eggplant, even avocado. Pea shoots, zucchini, chives, pot herb mustard. Quite the garden wrapped in pork.
And apparently the creativity doesn't stop there. The material even mentions more inventive variations.
Like what?
Like pak choy, spicy lotus root, and surprisingly, even fruits. Strawberries and kiwi wrapped in pork belly.
Strawberries and kiwi?
With pork bellies.
Seriously.
That's what the sources say. It really highlights the individuality, the originality you can find at different restaurants, as the sources point out.
Definitely shows personality. They also note that these vegetable rolls are quite popular, right? Especially among women.
Yeah, offering a sort of lighter, maybe perceived as healthier, yet still satisfying option.
And it stands in contrast, according to the material, to what you might typically find in places like Tokyo.
Exactly. Further emphasizing that regional difference again.
So, okay. We've got all these unique skewers and customs. The pork belly, the cabbage, the super involved Torikawa, the creative vegetable rolls. How do you actually go about experiencing Fukuoka's yakitori scene like a local, based on the information you shared?
Well, a key factor the sources mention is the sheer density of yakitori restaurants.
Right. I remember that statistic.
Fukuoka City has the highest number per capita among Japan's 21 largest cities, something like 495 listed in the city alone.
That's a lot of yakitori places.
It is. And that density creates a unique environment which directly contributes to a culture the sources call hashigozak.
Hashigozaki, ladder sake. But here it means yakitori hopping, right?
Exactly. Because there are so many places packed close together, it's common practice for people to spend relatively short amounts of time at multiple restaurants throughout an evening.
Ah, like bar hopping, but for yakitori.
Precisely. You hop from one place to another, sampling different specialties.
That sounds like the perfect way to try everything. Did the sources suggest like a possible route or approach for this yakitori hop?
They did give a sort of suggested flow. You could start at a place known for its classic pork belly and that signature chicken skin.
Okay, hit the icons first.
Then perhaps move on to a restaurant that specializes in those creative vegetable rolls we talked about.
Mix it up a bit.
And maybe finish up at a spot known for other unique or creative dishes, whatever their specialty might be.
Nice. And throughout this hopping adventure, I assume that essential cabbage ritual was key.
Oh, absolutely. The sources encourage you to embrace the Fukuoka style, which they describe as taking a bite of cabbage, eating pork belly, and thinking about the next menu item.
Ah, I love that. It's part of the rhythm of the meal.
Keeps that palate refreshed between those delicious, rich skewers.
Makes sense. Yeah. The sources also wisely recommend asking locals for their favorite places or, suggested courses.
Definitely. They'll know the real gems and the nuances, the best places for specific things.
Good tip. And if you're dining with locals, or perhaps even if you ask politely at some places, you might experience this unique ritual for closing the night.
Ah, the Hakata Tate Pun.
Yes, this sounds intriguing. The sources describe it as a closing ritual.
That's right. It's typically performed at the end of a banquet or maybe a substantial gathering at the restaurant.
How does it work?
Well, when the host or maybe the senior person there declares it's time to close the party with tea upon, everyone stands up.
Okay.
And they perform this specific rhythmic clapping sequence together.
What's the rhythm like? Can you describe it?
The sources break it down pretty clearly. Someone calls out, yo, followed by 2 claps. Pan, pan.
Yo, pan, pan.
Then, mohitotsu, followed by 2 more claps. Pan, pan.
Mohitotsu, pan, pan.
And finally, aitsando, followed by 3 claps. Pan, pan, pan.
Aitsando, pan, pan, pan. Got it. What's the significance of that specific sequence?
It's described as a traditional way to formally conclude the event. It signifies a sort of collective agreement, like no objection, a unified wrap-up to the gathering.
That's a fantastic cultural detail, a real flourish.
It really is, something unique to look out for or even ask about, as the sources suggest. Asking the staff to teach you might even work sometimes.
It would certainly make a yakitori night in Fukuoka even more memorable.
Definitely adds to the experience.
The sources also gave us a quick look at a few specific restaurants, highlighting what makes them notable. Let's briefly mention those, just based purely on the descriptions provided.
Sure. First up was Yakitori no Hachibei.
Hachibei, right.
The material points to its long history, starting as a butcher shop way back in 1940, then becoming a yakitori place in 1983.
Wow, long roots.
And their concept is famously Buddha bar to the world. They even have overseas locations now.
Buddha bar to the world. That's quite a mission statement.
Isn't it? Their signature pork belly is highlighted grilled over proper binchotan charcoal, seasoned with salt, and finished with this unique spray of pure sake.
Sate spray. Interesting.
Yeah, which is said to make it pair particularly well with wine, apparently.
Okay, good to know. Next was Hakata Kawaya.
Hakata Kawaya is specifically recommended, as we mentioned, for being known for establishing that multi-day Torikawa culture.
The 6-day chicken skin place.
That's the one, popular with locals precisely because of their distinctive Torikawa.
Gotcha. And finally, Yakitori no Hibiki.
This one is described a bit differently, more like a local izakaya, a neighborhood pub found in the Sankaku Ichiba area,
Okay.
noted for its retro atmosphere and being cost-effective, so good value. The material calls out the large size of their yatsumi, that's thigh meat, and mune, which is breast meat skewers. Their Hakata no Gurukawa is also mentioned as a key item there.
Gurukawa, is that related to Torikawa?
It likely refers to their version of chicken skin, possibly prepared in a slightly different but still notable way. The sources mention their dishes generally have strong flavors that pair well with drinks.
So like an authentic, reasonably priced Fukuoka yakitori experience.
That seems to be the vibe, yeah. A real local spot.
Great snapshot of those places from the sources.
Oh.
Now, before we wrap up, tucked away in one of the articles was this slightly unexpected note about chicken, but not the part you usually think of eating.
Ah, yes, that little column piece, highlighting chicken stem.
Chicken stem being considered a beauty food. Why is that, according to this note?
Well, the explanation given is that it's surprisingly rich in natural hyaluronic acid and collagen.
Okay.
And importantly, it exists there in an ultra-low molecular weight form, which supposedly makes it easily absorbed by the body.
That is genuinely surprising. Hyaluronic acid and collagen from chicken stem. And apparently this idea isn't entirely new.
No, the note mentions it actually has a history. It's been consumed as a beauty food in parts of Western Europe dating back to ancient times.
Fascinating. Who knew? And it's even getting modern scientific attention.
That's right. The note points to its use in modern beauty supplements and cites ongoing scientific focus. There was mention of a study at Atsuma Women's University and even presentations about it in the United States.
Wow. A truly unexpected little detail discovered within the material.
Absolutely. A real, moment about where potential beauty ingredients might come from.
Indeed.
So this whole deep dive into the material you provided on Fukuoka's yakitori culture, it's been incredibly revealing.
It really has. We've learned about the surprising, absolutely central role of pork belly, that indispensable raw cabbage ritual.
The unique and, frankly, labor-intensive multi-day prep for torikawa, the wide and creative variety of vegetable rolls.
the Hashigozak hopping tradition, born from the city's density, and that distinct Hakata Ippon closing ritual.
These sources truly painted a picture of a regional food culture that completely redefines expectations. It goes so far beyond just grilled chicken skewers.
It really, really does. And it leaves us with something to ponder, doesn't it? Just how deeply can local customs, history, and specific preparations shape the very definition of a food item? Something seemingly universal like yakitori can mean such drastically different things just a few hundred miles apart in the same country.
It makes you wonder what other regional food definitions around the world might hold similar surprising twists if we took a closer look.
Exactly. What else are we missing just because we assume we know what a word means?